Alright, welcome back to the Supercoach Enough channel. In this video we're going to do our live reaction for Team List Tuesday going into round 10 of the 2024 NRL season. So pretty exciting teams list coming up. Just previewing a couple little things. I guess we've got looking just across the top here, we've got the Eels, who's going to play fullback in place of Gutho. Could be a potential bright spot given that he could miss round 13 and 14, which the Eels cover, and that would be very handy. The Rabbitohs sounds like they've lost probably their first three choices at halfback when you've got Ilias, Hawkins, and even Jai Gray. Could have potentially slotted in there. I think Whiten will find his way into the halves to cover with Cody Walker, but we'll see. And the Storm and how they cover Ryan Pappenhausen at fullback. So sounds like Farlungo and Jerome Hughes also in a bit of doubt, which could obviously affect Tyron Wishart's ability to cover fullback if they need him to cover the halves. Jonah Pezzett also being out long term for the Storm. So some pretty interesting stuff to look at this week, which I think is cool. But I guess while we wait, we've got about 10 minutes. We'll go through the Sportsdeck Dream Team for round 9. And so I guess a fair week with 941, which was top 21% for the round. Slight increase in the overall rank, but still, just on the edge of the top 20%. So we can obviously try and do better. But if we have a look at the team, we had Marshall King with a 48. Coruscant didn't end up playing with that injury, so we scrambled a bit. I think we brought Salmon in, so that worked out okay. Haas with an 50 and Terrell May with 82. So shout out to Barry Like on YouTube, who called it that he was going to have a big one. I swapped him back into the team for that reason. I did have him on the bench with Curran in the starting lineup, and it worked out well. Curran with a 52, solid. Nico with a 62 is, awesome as well. Smithies with a 51, but on the bye this week. Fini Fuyaki with a 27 is, probably getting to the stage where he's done his job for us. I guess we will have a look at team list this week now that Highland Lukey's back, because obviously if we could hold him through round 13-14, could be a valuable number. Salmon on the bench, as we said, with 35, fairly respectable effort, but you'd imagine that probably Preston will find his way back into the starting team this week. So, we might have another purpose for Salmon just yet. Nico Hines was our captain, so 83, which I think was actually the top score. I know we had Tedesco, slightly higher. SJ with 50, solid but not spectacular. And Galvin with a 33. So I think he's going to be good for our bye coverage. But yeah, again, we're not expecting miracles from the young fella. Just keep plugging away, getting us a few points. In the centres, we went with Eero and Martin. And obviously we could have got Ethan Strange at a much better value, as there's a bit of rain outside out of nowhere. So, it costs about 20 points, but that's fine. Talangi, hopefully he's the one that gets the job. They have been talking him up as the heir apparent at fullback. So, sorry, getting distracted by the rain. I worried it left something open somewhere. It should be okay. And the wing fullbacks were all good. Turbo with a 57. Teddy obviously top scored with 89. Pappenhausen with 51, but is a trade this week due to the injury. And Trey Fuller with a 23 was a bit disappointing, but opportunity to bounce back this week. So, guess before we talk trades, we'll do the head-to-head thing. So, good week for our Field of Dreams this week, cracking the 1,013. So looking at their team, Ruben Garrick with the 78, Angus Crichton with a 118, absolutely killing me in fantasy and sports deck, not having him. Walsh was a bit flat with a 20. Ruben Connor with an 81, obviously got him in the other formats. So I was a bit flat to miss out on him here. Vanilla Blake with a 64 is pretty solid too. So, other than Reece Walsh, no real disappointing scores there, 40s and above. You take that every day of the week. And even, Taylor May, 61 on the bench, and had Terrell May on the bench, so it could have been even worse for me, and even better for Daniel this week. But a couple of high scores there as well. So the Dragons Lair and Gundagai Tigers both with 970 plus. So Angus Crichton was common, Captain Hines, I think that was pretty popular. So Burton with the 62 was pretty good. Scott Drinkwater with 64 was a nice get. For Blake. Yep, and for Shane, who must be doing pretty well overall still, I'd imagine. Had May, Garrick, pretty solid all the way through there. Fantastic. So if we have a go at the leagues, V League, total points. Oh, so Field of Dreams pushing up. Oh, actually, that's slightly down, isn't it? Down 6 places despite scoring 1,000. That's pretty stiff. But nice team value too. 15 Milskis. Thanks for coming. Shane's still in the top 100, which is fantastic. Shoab pushing back up, which is good to see. And Hell's Granny's also making improvements. So nice work, team. Keep it going. But I guess initial thoughts on trades. Obviously, it is dependent on the um, team list that we're about to look at. But I think the obvious out's Pappenhausen, and then the obvious in, if we go based on less than 3 matches, is Armstrong. So, I guess that's one option. It does free up a bit of cash, so I guess what I am thinking of doing is trading out of Schiller, basically using all the DPP action, get into my forward pack, and I'll just get rid of the filter. So go by average, I'm guessing, will be better. So looking at getting in Angus Crichton, he's made 300k, which is insane. But probably will still keep going up. I think we've just got to get him in, given the form that he's in. So, something like that will do. So we'll complete the trades. And then just do a bit of reshuffling. So Smithy's on the buy. Obviously, if Cleary's up for this, he'll be in. So Armstrong's playing on Sunday Arvo, so I think I am willing to play him in the team. Um, and probably Trey Fuller as well. I'll give another crack. Unless maybe Talangi plays as centre, then we might do a little swap here, and Salmon might be on the pine. But yeah, I guess we do have the benefit of potentially Coruscant as well, so could actually end up looking something like this. So yeah, Coruscant, Curran, Cleary, Fuller on the bench, I think is pretty strong. Um, Although I guess given the later game, it's probably going to be like SJ, and then you can also do the handy VCC. I guess it is tricky because when we look at the matchups, the Sharks have the Storm, which is obviously tough, but the Panthers have the Bulldogs, and I think the Bulldogs I looked at this morning were fourth for defence this season in terms of points conceded. So Serraldo's system starting to work, but I guess if there's one player that's going to be able to unpick the system, it would be Nathan Cleary. So something to be mindful of. I think VC is pretty good shout for Cleary, given how early in the week he plays. It'd be nice if I didn't have Salmon here in the centre spot because Strange would be a good swap. I think maybe can swap Nikora and Actually, I might need to do some more shuffling there. So I think we might have to sacrifice Armstrong for, say, Smithies. Nickera would slide to the bench to cover that. Something like that, anyway. All right, but it's just gone 4 o'clock, so let's have a look at the teams. Let's watch NRL.com melt down as everyone else does the same. There we go. So Latrell's in. Good signs there. Excuse me. Here we go. All right, Dolphins Seagulls first on Thursday night. So the Dolphins looking at very similar. Maybe Lemuelu, is he back? No, testing news out. Farmworth back in. So very interesting one for bye coverage, given obviously being English, he won't be playing Origin. Could be worth a serious look this week. The Seagulls, I'll just cheat. So Croker out, so he's playing hooker. Carl Lawton. So interesting. I have to have a look what that is about. Oh, so HIA. So it's a 1 week deal. No need to look too closely at Lawton or Chan Kung Tong on the bench. So it looks like Ben Travojevic is back too. So and straight back in. So I guess for those that held, such as me in the sports deck, a pretty handy inclusion. Be interesting to see next week with Olakuatu back if that holds. Him or Waddell make way. So they, I guess, gets 1 week anyway to stake his claim, and we'll go from there. Panthers Bulldogs. So the Panthers, Alamotti named in the centres. So Isaac Tunga, I think, is injured from memory. Oh no, suspension. I knew he was out, but I've forgotten when. So Alamotti is on the bubble for Supercoach, so could be an interesting buy. Playing against his old club too, that adds a little extra bit of intrigue to that. Um, Looking through the forward pack, looks pretty standard. Liam Henry back on the bench, so he had 1 game off. He's back, great to see. And for the Bulldogs, looks like the starting team's named the same. Obviously, Curran, I think, swapped with Hughes on game day. Preston on the bench again, so interesting to see how he goes. But other than that, looks pretty much the same 17. So, guess winning form is winning form. Eels, Broncos. So number 1, Blaze Talangi. So very interesting. Have traded him out in Supercoach and Fantasy, a bit like Ben Travojevic. So could be a good one to get on. Ethan Sanders gets another go at 6, but I think Moses isn't that far away, so probably one just to cool our jets on there. Forward pack looks very much business as usual. No hands on the interchange bench, but is in the 22. So just probably can wait on that one, but we'll have a think about Joey Lassie this week. For the Broncos, so Josh Rogers, the winner Manly halfback, named in 7, given they've not got a lot of other options. Could have pushed Walters or Sailor into the halves, but they've gone with the out and out halfback. In saying that, I think Madden's not that far away, so probably not worth looking at Rogers for fantasy. Unless you really want to have a 1 week go at it. But I think you can just have a look and see how he goes at the very least. Forward pack looks business as usual. So Jack Kajeski making the move and getting the start on the interchange bench. So it'd be interesting to see how that affects Piakura. Yeah. Fletcher Baker out. So if you got Baker by any chance, give him the brush. Tigers Knights. Tigers, Jaden Sullivan slotting in for Aiden Caesar. That was the obvious move. That looks all pretty good. Although Papa Lee named it lock forward, I think thought Bateman had been playing 13 the last couple of weeks. So that's an interesting positional switch. Don't know if it's really mentioned there, but that's okay. And Api Coruscant named as well. So if you're trading him out, you can probably reverse and see how that goes this week. Armstrong, so get him into Supercoach. I think as the cheapie of the week. Other than that, looks pretty much business as usual. Oh, Tyson Frizzell back. I didn't notice that. So Dylan Lucas to the bench if you've got him, I suppose. Probably isn't ideal, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he sort of slots into the picture. Dragons, Rabbitohs. So the Dragons, that looks pretty much the same. I don't recognise any difference there. Tuipulotu out, so maybe Ravalawa back in. Or was it? Oh, Sully back in. He was away last week. And for South, so Shibasaki coming down from Mackay or Townsville, I think it was, for a game. So Dion Teopa, Taupa, maybe. I'll have to learn how to say that one. But in the 7. So could be an interesting one given the injuries there at South. I thought, Whiten might just slot in, but they're keeping him in the centres, which is interesting. In the forward pack, so Saliva Havili slotting in for Cam Murray as well. Tallis Duncan on the bench. And Matt French, I think, might be a debutant too, because it's another name I'm not familiar with. So big changes there at Souths. Yep, there you go. We'll play his first NRL game. Yeah, so it says Jai Gray, Dean Hawkins, long-term injuries, so might be one to have a look at. In fantasy this week, obviously, but then I guess going forward as well, Super Coach and all that sort of good gear. Storm and the Sharks. So Fa'alongo named at fullback for the Storm. So might be one we just consider a straight swap in fantasy. You can wait a week in Super Coach and see how he goes. But yeah, Tyron Wishart named in the 6, Munster 7. So interesting decision there with Jerome Hughes missing. But you'd think Wishart could just play in the 7. I don't think it matters that much, but that's the way they've gone. Forward pack looks good though. Grant Anderson on the wing too. So Coates must be out. See how last week. Didn't even pick that up. Yeah, so who played last week? Oh, was it Wishart played on the wing, wasn't it? That's right. That's why it's different. Yeah, cool. So I'm with it finally. The Sharks, no real changes there. Yeah, think that. Oh, Toby Rudolph out. Who's in for him? Maybe Royce Hunt. Yeah, nice. Roosters, Warriors. So the Roosters, strong back 7. So Brandon Smith named to play. He was in a bit of doubt. Um, and Spencer Leniu back as well. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects Terrell May. Um, I guess the winner there could very well be Angus Crichton, given they've got White, Leniu, and May on the bench, and Watson will obviously cover in the middle also. And then the Warriors, so it looks all very much the same to me. Mitch Barnett in the second row. What happened to Cable? I think he got injured, didn't he? That's right. So, out of luck there. So Barnett, 80 minutes on the edge could be decent. Probably not worth a trade in, but definitely worth a look. Adam Pompey named on the interchange as well. So interesting they've gone with the outside back to cover any potential injuries and stuff. Don't hate it, just interesting. And Titans Cowboys, which I think is the last game of the round. So AJ Brimson's still at fullback. Chris Randall named in 6. That's interesting. He's pretty much been playing like a hooker and then lock forward role. So not sure what they're doing there. And then you look at their bench. They got Keanu Kinney on the bench. So are they going to spell Sam Verrills with Keanu Kinney and sort of swap him with Randall, and maybe even Brimson slots into 6? I don't know. That's too complex for my brain. And the Cowboys. So Fini Furiaki named to start again. Lukey's still on the bench. So I think that's all right. Just easing Lukey back in. We don't hate that. Braden Burns, there you go. I didn't realise he'd gone up to the Cowboys, but fantastic. So yeah, so I guess some good options out of the team lists. So just go back up through. The likes of Fa'alongo is a good option, I think, playing fullback for the Storm. Um, young Talpa playing halfback for the Rabbitohs is definitely one I'm going to have a bit more of a look into. And Blaze Talangi playing fullback for the Eels for the next few weeks. So some good stuff there. Like I said, I thought it was going to be good, and it was everything I thought it would be. But yeah, I guess from here we'll get the tops, chops, traps, slaps videos up and about. I'll probably do them tonight. I'm going to try and start forward loading some of this stuff, so I'll get them out. Not out tonight, I'll get them out tomorrow, but done tonight, which means I can do the round previews for Thursday morning, tomorrow night, and we'll go from there. But other than that, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. It has been good to see an increase in that too, so I do appreciate everyone reaching out. I know the Supercoach review this week caused a bit of controversy, and I've definitely listened to the advice. But we'll talk about that in the round preview and maybe the video tomorrow. Give us a like if you enjoy the live reaction or you enjoy the Sportsdeck Dream Team stuff. Something a bit different. Subscribe. Join the rest of the gang that's got on board with that. Appreciate you all. But other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.